Well, she was born in England, and she was raised as Barry Cossey. Well, I want to show you, just let me show you the pictures here. Just a couple of here at the top here. Here's in infancy, this very cute little boy. Next slide. That's Barry with his sister. At age, what would you say? Here's Barry with his family. See him there in the front? Here is Barry at age 17. Here is one of the most talked about transsexual profiles in recent years. The London tabloids have had a field day with this story because Barry, is now Caroline Cossey. And yes, she did get married, but not legally, because you can't change your birth certificate, and if you're still a girl, how can you marry a man? And she has taken this to the European Court of Human Rights. Not only that, she's in the United States to talk to Playboy about a layout. Well, if it happens, it would be the first transsexual person profiled by Playboy. May I ask you to kindly give, I think on her first television appearance and perhaps her first visit to the States, please give a Yankee, New York City welcome to Caroline Cossey. Well, you must be very pleased by that generous reception. We no longer sneer and boo at those. Yeah. Maybe we are doing something. Maybe we're growing up a little bit. Your nickname is Tula.
Right.
Yes. Well, how do we start here? First of all, you went to the... This court is in Strasbourg, is this right?
Yes.
You can't get married because the sex on your birth certificate is your sex for life. Don't argue with the court in Europe. They don't want to make any changes in this.
That's right.
So this makes, you're in a sexual limbo then.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. And you got married anyway. It's a talk show, Caroline. Don't make me do all the work. You married an Italian count.
No, I married a Jewish gentleman. I was engaged to an Italian, but he would turn out to be quite a stallion, so I let him go.
Quite a stallion, I see. Well, I hope you gave him one of your girlfriends.
I think he had plenty of those of his own.
He did?
Yes.
So, on the occasion of your marriage, which was in a synagogue, so?
Yeah.
So you were properly married within the Jewish faith.
Yes.
And then you went on your honeymoon.
Yeah.
And when you got back, his folks found out.
Well, it was front page in one of the tabloids, and he sort of said, what am I going to do? And I said, well, I hope your mother hasn't seen it, because his mother sort of ruled the roast there, and he went home, and I never saw him from that day.
Yeah. Boy, aren't you copy. I'll tell you this. I hope you're getting paid for this, because you're sure
I
selling.
am.
Just a few of the London tabs. Here you are, Caroline's Secret Battle. Look at this. Used to be a boy. I'm telling you, you never know anymore, do you?
That's quite gentle. They used to say, I used to be a man, which used to irritate me because I was never a man.
Tell us about this now. The chromosomes, as you know, I'm a brilliant geneticist, but please explain this for us.
Well, I'm 3 X's and a Y, which is split.
3 X's and a Y.
I'm neither sex, biologically.
Uh-huh. A boy is XY, a girl is XX.
Right.
I see. You're 3 X's and a Y. Show them some of these photos that we haven't shared with our audiences yet, Brian. You became one of Britain's top models. This is an early... you
early.
Knew all the time, didn't you? You're a teenager here, I assume.
Well, I was sort of 18, and I just sort of got into dancing and what have you, but I think I put a bit too much makeup on for that one.
Next slide. There you are, highlighted on the left.
That was with Roger, yes, in the For Your Eyes Only, the Bond film.
James Font, For Your Eyes Only. Here you are with your folks. What a happy, loving family.
My mum, dad, and sis.
Next. Here's some professional shots of you. You've already established that you fell in love and last year married a millionaire, but the marriage was over when his mother found out about your past. Yes. Well, aren't mothers-in-law powerful? Isn't this a beautiful shot?
Especially Jewish ones.
These are all commercial shots.
Yes.
This person was born Barry Cossey, and here she is. Aren't you gorgeous?
Thank you, Bill.
Well, there you are, and look at the commercial attention that you've received. Now, am I right about the Playboy business?
Well, I keep saying, you know, I've got the time if he's got the money, so yes. My body wasn't cheap. I paid a lot of money for my body, so...
Right.
If he wants to pay, I'm happy to take my clothes off. We all have a price.
Applauding this now. I mean, what's happening to my country? I'll tell you what, it's okay with the guys who proudly serve on the aircraft carrier USS Kennedy, and we're pleased to have them with us. Well, they certainly picked the right show, or close to it, we should say.
There's quite a few out there.
Yeah, we could have had male strippers today, guys. Just think how lucky you are. Let's talk now. Your first surgery was in 1970-something.
74 for the gender reassignment, but I had my breasts done in 72.
You had your breasts on in 72. So you had breast augmentation surgery, is that how we would call it?
Yeah.
So you have the implants, not unlike a lot of women have done. So?
Yeah.
You know, like the Dow Corning, we've had them on our show. You know, it's not, you didn't...
What? The what?
That's a company, it's a product. I assume that... You see, if you keep laughing like this, then you rattle the host. It was under the skin, a subcutaneous implant under your normal chest area.
I didn't ask him what he did, but I think he must have done.
And when you woke up there, they were, huh?
Wonderful.
You like them?
Wonderful.
Both the same size and everything's fine. Now, when you say gender reassignment, so you got your breasts first?
Right. I was working as a showgirl, you see, so I was able to earn that much more if I went topless, because I was with the Bluebells. I don't suppose you've heard of those here. Bluebells in Paris are quite famous.
Oh, well, I'm sure they are. And so, all right, so you were able to make a living, and you're a proud woman, and you never asked for any handouts, and you made your living as an entertainer and as a gorgeous, tall, statuesque, lovely woman. Now, on the issue of gender reassignment, this, I assume, involves castration and removing all the evidence of male genitalia, so?
Sounds awful, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It hurts me just asking the question. True. That's what they do, right?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
But it wasn't.
I'm sorry?
It was very painful for me living as a woman, but not complete. So when I sort of look at the operation, it was just something to sort of help me straighten me out. So it was a cosmetic. It was like having a nose job or whatever.
And so you are actually then capable of sexual intimacy with a man?
If you come to my dressing room later, I'll show you, yes.
In front of the guys from the USS Kennedy, you say this. And your honeymoon was apparently a very mutually satisfying, lovely, loving, mutually consensual, erotic...
Rampant.
Rampage.
Rampant.
Rampant.
Yes.
You had a good time.
I did.
And so did he.
Yes.
Well, darn. Should we call his mother?
Call his mother.
Yeah.
Kill her.
Well, we don't want to do that. Now, is there a man in your life now?
No, I've got a minder who sort of has got a soft spot for me, or maybe a hard spot, but...
Yeah. Well, you do have to keep your eye on the London girls, don't you? Let us just for a moment before, and we can't wait to figure what this audience may want to question you about. You're currently fighting a 6-year battle to change British law. The law forbids the changing of gender on birth certificates. No doubt about it.
Yes.
The law hangs on a rather tenuous thread, if I'm understanding this. You have to be able to procreate in order to legitimately marry. Is that the deal?
That's right.
And that's pretty stupid. I mean, under those circumstances, postmenopausal women wouldn't be able to marry.
Exactly.
Not only that, not everybody who gets married wants to have a baby. So this is baloney, so why don't we just get over there and get this fixed? Incidentally, some states in the Union, in our own beloved country, do permit changing the gender on birth certificates, and some do not.
Oh.
I assume this is not going to in any way deter your active social life, and then someday I assume you hope to get married, huh?
Again, yes, maybe.
Did you have to take any? You didn't take any hormones, or did you? Is there a biochemical feature to this change?
Yes, I did. I took hormone replacement therapy at 17, but because I'm so skinny, I was told that my breasts would only grow at a certain stage because I don't have that much fat. So then I was able to have breast surgery, so I did.
Your face is your face, nothing, no work on your face.
No, it's all mine.
And is your voice the same tenor as it was?
Yes, I sound a bit like Lee Marvin in the mornings. I smoke too much. But
I see.
nerves.
Yes. Well, I suggested this might have been your first visit to the States. I was wrong?
No, I've been over here a few times on location, and I've got some relatives here, which I come over and say hello to.
I see. Do we please share with this audience your own, you say you were never a man, although you were born with the evidence of being anatomically male. Were you an effeminate child?
Very camp.
Camp. Clever and kind of sassy like you are now, I bet, huh?
No, camp is very feminine and soft. I used to be called sissy and pansy and all those horrendous words that they use in England.
You were a victim of homophobia then as a kid.
Who?
A homophobia, you know, people who... it's not important.
Homophobia? What's homophobia? Are you homophobic?
Fear of homosexuals.
No, I thought I was, actually, but homosexual men didn't find me attractive, because homosexuals like men to be men, and I was very feminine and liked to wear makeup and look very feminine.
And your parents were, I saw that picture of you and your parents. That's a very loving family photo, so may we assume then that your parents were always supportive of you and understood and so on?
Yes, I mean, I went home and I said that I was having medical treatment, and I said that, you know, they had advised me, because I was very confused. I mean, I left home because I didn't want to be an embarrassment to my family. And once I had my chromosomes and I was under a psychiatrist, he said, "You're a transsexual." I said, "Well, what's that?" And he explained, and then he said, "You can have surgery," and it was wonderful. It was like plain sailing.
Here you are again. Look at how beautifully you photograph. We should not be surprised. You've certainly got the lines, as we might say. Well, we wish you well with your meeting with Playboy, and we can only speculate on, this would be the first I want to be a Playboy pinup, why not? And how would Playboy readers receive this material? We can only wonder. I'm sure you wouldn't hurt circulation, be my guess. But we do want to give this audience an opportunity to chat with Tula, or Caroline Cossey, who we should say was born 35 years ago.
Yes.
And we'll be back in just a moment.
Hi, Tula. Welcome to the United States. I'm interested to know if about your maternal instinctive feelings, and if you should get married again, would you consider adopting children?
Well, with my husband, we had gone over that area and we had organized a surrogate mother.
Really?
So, yes. I mean, I feel very
Using
rude.
his sperm, a surrogate mother would carry the baby and then it'd be yours.
Yeah.
Huh. So
My sister was happy to do that for me, and a very good girlfriend.
Wow.
And I feel very broody. You know, I felt very broody in my relationship.
Yes.
I know you said that you were married to a Jewish gentleman. Is that correct?
Yes.
How are you spiritual? I mean, most people have some sort of religion, whether it be Catholic or whatever. I mean, how do you deal with that? Do you profess Judaism or?
I'm Jewish now, yes, but liberal Jewish.
Your instruction spanned the course of a year, did it not?
My who?
Your instruction in the
Yes,
Jewish
it
faith.
took me a year to convert.
Yeah.
Hi, Tula. Welcome to United States. Nice to have you here.
Yeah.
I'd like to know...
Did you have any welcome at all for me? I mean, just while we're...
I haven't been had yet.
I see. When you were working on that James Bond movie, I'd like to know if you felt that you were really undercover.
Under who?
Undercover.
How do you mean?
Did they know that you were a transsexual?
Oh, no. At that point, I had a 7-year, very successful career as a model, and no one knew.
Yes, sir.
Your husband knew before you married him,
Yes.
but his family didn't.
No.
I think he's a heel. He shouldn't have left you.
Putting it
If he
mildly.
loved you, he wouldn't have left you, right? Should
Yeah.
have just stayed with you.
He's a wimp.
Hey, I'd like to know if you just post for these magazines and make these comments just to try to prove to yourself that you're a woman.
I don't have to prove to anyone or myself that I'm a woman. I am a woman.
Good girl.
I was wondering if you saw the gay parade yesterday and what you thought of it, of all the, because I saw a bunch of transsexuals and stuff. Did you see it?
No, I was in Long Island with my family and relatives sunbathing, getting over jet lag.
Uh-huh. Yes, sir. We got to get the Navy on this. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Bill. You're trying to get your gender on the birth certificate changed. What do you propose they have? Male, female, and other?
Well, female.
You want to be identified as a female. That's what you are. That's what you've always felt you were. And after a lot of surgery and...
Well, the situation is in England, we're given help on the national health, you know, so we're helped medically, but then we're not, legally, so they're dragging their feet.
Yes.
How do men react when they find out about your change?
I don't ask them.
Just like men would react, I guess.
What difference does it make on the birth certificate if it says male or female? If you are a female,
It's about what you were at the time you were born. There's a certain conservative sort of... you can't change it. Anything that happens after the birth does not alter the nature of your sex at the time of your birth.
so she's saying that she was a woman when she was born.
Well,
With a growth.
huh?
With a growth.
Yeah.
Tula, just a curiosity.
Sounds like a wart, doesn't it?
See you there.
Curious, a question. Since your change was a lot of artificial matter, you know, with your breasts, and I don't know about the other, how does that affect your feelings in sexual matters? I mean, is there much sensation because you've had such a drastic change in the...
No drastic change. They sort of tuck everything inside. It's wonderful.
Now he asks about your feelings on this. Your erotic or your libido is a woman's feeling.
Yes, it's
So-
much higher now than I'm sort of completed than it was before. It was all fantasy before, but now it's reality.
And you continue to take
Hormones?
no.
No.
Yeah.
Tula, I'd like to make a statement to you, and I don't mean to offend you. I think you're a wonderful girl. But I would not buy that Playboy magazine, much less even glance at it.
Tell me why.
She's not a girl. You're not a girl.
Yeah. And so therefore you don't even want to look at it. What might happen if you looked at it?
You're the one that wanted to go in the dressing room. Why didn't you want to go in there? I wouldn't go in there.
Because you're a man and you don't want to be caught with anybody who used to be, right?
He's a closet.
No, don't.
He's closeted.
No.
He's closeted. Forget him.
You think he does?
Yes. He's got more of a problem than I had.
Yes.
If you don't get your wish in Europe, would you think about coming to the States, into a state that you can get your sex change, where you can become female on your birth certificate?
Would I think about what?
I don't think that would work. She wonders if a change in address for you would help. In other words, if you moved to an American state that allowed for birth certificates to be changed, would that apply or extend to the birth certificate of somebody in England?
Sure. I was engaged to an Italian count who wanted me to become an Italian citizen.
And under those circumstances, it would have been a legitimate marriage, huh?
Sure.
When you first went to your parents with your decision to have these operations, was your father let down? Being a boy, was he let down?
Yeah.
Well, he was slightly shocked, but once I sort of discussed my medical problem and then I was going to the proper medical help, he was very supportive.
Yes.
Being a male before, I mean, do you have to ever worry about shaving or?
No.
No, that's the hormones, huh? Yeah.
At any time in your life, did you wish you wouldn't have had the operation? Or?
Did you have any remorse, or were you ever sorry you went through with the sex change?
No.
No. All right.
Come on.
First, welcome to the...
Thank you. I feel better.
Your husband knew when you were getting married that you were... Whatever. Did he know when he first met you?
No. Well, I didn't have it written across my forehead, no.
How did he come to find out finally?
He asked me to marry him on Valentine's 1988. And I mean, he's not an idiot. I don't have periods and things. And when he asked me to marry, I said, there's something you need to know. And
oh, by the way, surprise!
I gave him my book to read, and I wrote a book about my life. And he read my book, and he accepted it very well.
First of all, welcome to America. That's
Thank
number
you.
one. Number two, thank you very much. And number three, if by any chance you do not make it in England, would you honor us in America by coming here and becoming an American citizen and getting a birth certificate?
There's so many spunky men out there in America.
I'll say. Yes, ma'am.
The lady over here just said, honor us by becoming an American citizen. I wonder, there are so many women in the world that are trying to escape being objects just because they're women. And here you come and get a sex change and become a woman just so that you can be an object. Now you want to be in Playboy just to be an object as a woman. How do you feel what service do you feel you're doing to the other women in the world who want to be women as people and not just as bodies?
I'm not doing any service. I'm not doing any service to any women. I'm doing a service to transsexuals because people have the wrong impression of transsexuals. They think we're transvestites. So I'm trying to educate and enlighten people that transsexuals can be sexy and feminine, and we don't have hairy chests, and we don't look like men in drag.
Okay, all right. It's only an hour show.
Can't you be sexual and beautiful as a woman inside instead of just being an object?
I am.
Why don't you show that more as opposed to you flirt more than anyone who was born as a woman that I've ever known.
Well, flirting is not necessarily a bad thing.
I was just talking about a show of intelligence and other powers other than the sexual.
No, I understand your point. It's very well stated. I think we have to at least respect her different agenda. She is hoping to make a statement for the countless numbers of transsexuals. How many we got now? Whole bunch?
Well, in England, we have 25,000. I don't know how many you have in the States, but...
The surgery has become rather common, has it not, recently?
Very.
Yeah.
I mean, we do one every fortnight in England.
So that her then, she's in here to break a barrier. She wants to be in Playboy. Yes.
How much money have you spent on all this?
On who?
All this, everything you've done, all the surgery.
Oh, I don't keep count, but it's all in stages. It's quite expensive.
And was it not covered by the national health insurance of your country?
Well, it is, but I paid for mine privately.
Oh.
How common is the XXY genetic makeup that you talked about? And do you know if many of the other people with that genetic makeup tend towards transsexuality?
They're all transsexuals with my chromosomal problem. Very common, 25,000 in England.
Hmm.
I could never have fathered a child.
Right. This young man on the front row asked you about the family. How quickly did your father come around? This had to be a challenge for him.
Well, I think he was shocked because he was slightly disappointed initially, but with I had an uncle that used to say, "You've got to watch him, he's going to grow up funny," because I was always feminine and soft and what have you. But the minute he knew I was having medical treatment and I had specialists looking at me, my childhood fitted like a jigsaw puzzle, so it was not a problem. And he wanted to pay for surgery. I mean, he was so supportive.
From my understanding, the XYY chromosome is supposed to be men that are supposed to be more aggressive, but that's not necessarily true. And I wonder how much really is environment.
You mean conditioning?
Yes.
I was brought up in the country. I mean, I was brought up I was brainwashed being a boy, I think. But I always had the instinct to be feminine, so...
Did you wear your mother's clothes and so on?
Yes,
when you
sisters
did?
and mothers.
I'm sorry?
Sisters and mothers.
I see. Uh-huh. And with whom was your first honest conversation about your interests? Those photographs show you changing at age 17.
I spoke to my brother Terry, and I said what I felt, and he broke it to my mum and dad.
And you had a little family meeting, and you...
Well, I used to go home. Yes, I mean, I went home and faced them.
Uh-huh. And at that meeting, everybody was civil and...
Yeah.
Well, that's remarkable, if I may say. I mean, this is a respectful bow to your family. Not everybody's up for this, as you know. This is a very challenging thing, painful for many families.
Well, I think all of my family members knew I was a problem because I left home and it was so out of context with, you know, the environment that I was living in. So they knew that I ran away for something. And then when I went home and I explained that I had medical treatment, I mean, I had blackouts at 13, and we had medical treatment at that stage, but they were all a bit sort of behind, and they didn't know what was wrong with me.
You had blackouts as a result of your XXY
yeah.
chromosomal
makeup.
Huh. Now you're fine and you're in good health, we may assume.
Hopefully.
Yes. And we'll be back in just a moment.
To be part of the audience, please send a postcard to Donahue Tickets, care of NBC, 30 Rockefeller Plaza, New York, New York, 10112. Remember, postcards only, please.
Yes. Tula is with us, and this striking young woman was born a boy. Never felt being a boy, didn't want to be a boy, never felt like a boy, and yes, she has had the surgery, and here we are with one of the most public transsexuals in the world today. Yes.
Tula, did you have sexual intercourse prior to your sex change?
With a woman?
With whatever.
Yes.
You had it with a woman?
Yes.
How was it?
Disappointing.
Well, it's about time to get out our hymn books, isn't it? Here. Yes.
Now that there's been so much exposure and so much publicity,
How is your career going?
Very nicely, thank you.
Your modeling career?
Yes, it's okay.
All right, thank you.
Because there's not a big call, as you know. When you're 35 and you're a model, I mean, that, you know, that's
old. No, I still get to Milan and Paris for the runways and what have you.
Really?
What other career moves would you make? Films, perhaps?
I'm doing more films now than I did before.
I'm just a little confused about when you were a boy and the time when you were supposed to start liking girls, but you didn't, you liked boys. So that must have really been confusing for you as a child to figure out what in the world you were and how to deal with all that. How did you do that?
Well, that's what I said. I left home because I knew that when we were having sex lessons at school, I just thought, my God, I don't like girls at all. So I just wanted to get away, and I left, and I headed for London.
Okay, you said before that you were going to be in the Playboy magazine to show that transsexuals can be attractive, right?
Sorry?
Yes. You said you were going to be in the Playboy to show that you can be attractive
I don't know
to a
yet.
man.
I mean, I've got the
Is that
time
what
if he's got the money, so we'll see.
If a man is hanging around a woman who has had who was a man before, and he's attracted to her, and he knows it, and he doesn't know that she's had the operation, and then she tells him, and he's not attracted to her, then that's not going to change how he feels about her. He's still going to be unattracted because he's so sensitive about his sexuality. So how is being in Playboy and showing people your body going to help show that it's okay to be with a transsexual? Because they're still going to feel the same way about, no, this used to be a guy, I don't want to touch him.
You want me to take this one?
Yeah.
Do you understand? Do you understand the question?
Half, yes, you take that one.
Well, no, well, it'd be arrogant for me to answer your question. Go ahead.
You were saying that if someone knew what I was and he had a problem about it.
Yeah, he's assuming that this would shock a guy, huh, after to find out.
Yeah, but if you're going to be in the Playboy to show that they can be sexual, what difference is that going to make?
It would make a difference.
Maybe a guy's going to say, oh yeah, I accept her, she looks good, but he's still going to think, well, I don't want to touch her, you know.
Well, I would find him
whatever he already thought.
Any guy that would say that, I would find him very unspiritual and very shallow, because he doesn't realize that I'm a mistake at nature.
You wouldn't want to hang out with an insecure guy like this, is
No.
what you... Yeah.
Yeah, what I like to know is you're having this fight with the British government to become a woman. Does it have anything to do that if you're a woman you can collect alimony once you get a divorce?
No. I wish.
Yeah. Incidentally, yes, ma'am.
I was going to say, actually, no, it's nothing to do with my marriage. It's to do with my career. I had a very nice career for 7 years, and the press ruined they tried to ruin my career. So had I have had a legal leg to stand on, I would have been able to sue the News of the World, but I couldn't, because they're allowed to print the truth. But it was a very personal problem to my situation, and I didn't want it to be public.
One of your problems, and this is not so funny, if you were ever convicted of a crime...
I'd be sent to a man's prison. I can't be legally raped. I would be sent to a man's prison. I'd have a good time, but I don't think I'd like the short back and sides again. Plus, I pay a female insurance stamp, and I don't get a pension until I'm 65.
In this country, so there's some very vocal conservative church leaders and politicians. I'm wondering what the atmosphere is in England, and if that's the reason why there's such difficulty in changing the law.
I don't know. There's too many closeted MPs. I think, there's never been a transsexual that comes forward.
You do have Clause 28. You could argue that England may be more homophobic than America. That may be hard for some.
It's a lovely expression, homophobic. I'll have to remember that when I get back to England.
Well.
Homophobic.
You can tell them you heard it from me. Clause 28 disallowing the presentation of homosexuality in any positive way in any art expression is pretty old thinking. And so I assume that it hasn't been altogether that glorious an experience for you to meet, to grow up like this in that society.
No.
No. All right. And we'll be back with Tula in just a minute.
Tula, first of all, I'd like to say you're a very beautiful woman, and if I passed you by on the street, I would be very envious of you. And second of all, I have a comment to the very rude gentleman in the back. As a woman, I would definitely buy the magazine myself just to see you.
Thank you.
So, also, he's very rude. Also, I was wondering if you could identify these lovely people down here that came, your relatives?
Yes. They're my aunts and niece.
Well, we're pleased to have you.
Cousins and niece.
Cousins. Thank you so much for being here. Yes.
How do you know that you could not father a child?
How do I know? Because I'm 3 X's and a Y.
Mm-hmm. Wrong alphabet. Yeah.
Hello, I'm coming from France, and I want to know now.
France?
Yes. And now you're famous, and I want to know. Do you know other transsexual, and especially in France now?
Not in France. I have so many letters from transsexuals in England who, you know, write to me and say, God, I think you're doing a wonderful thing, and I live in fear, and I'm in a job, and all these situations, but not in France, no.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
You are a very striking individual. I wonder how tall you are and what your dimensions are, or your measurements.
I'm 5'12" in my stocking feet. I'm 36, 24, 36.
Let's review some of those slides, Brian. For those who may have joined us late, we could just go down to show you. This is a commercial shot of. Maybe we can go back a little earlier to see where. Would that be possible? To see where we've been. Look at this. Aren't you a pro? Do you believe that this woman was born a male? There he is.
Not a male.
There. Well.
No one's born a male or a female.
Really? Show him the one where she's 5, or he's 5, Barry. This is you as a child. Your name was Barry. There it is. There you are. Yes, sir.
I just want to say, well, without doubt, it's a beautiful woman, you know, to the situation. And I can't really understand the emotions that you went through as a child, realizing that maybe you should be a woman, not a man. But, you know, we're all created one way when we're born, you know, male or female. And even in the Judea belief or the Christian belief, you're changing your sex. And if God created us one way, how can we change it? You know, I'm not trying to be down on you, because obviously you're beautiful, ain't no doubt about it. And I'm not trying to be down on you. I'm just, how can we change something that God has created?
But he created me. I think he turned his back when he created me, because I'm mixed chromosomally, and I just had a cosmetic operation to get rid of my growth.
Yeah, I have a question concerning the modeling industry. Are there any other transsexuals in the, I mean, are we looking at...
You never know, do you? I'm telling you.
That's the question.
I've heard that there's a few in Hollywood, but I wouldn't like to say who they are.
Thank you.
Sure. You know, I hope we don't have any talk show hosts. Incidentally, everything I know, I learned from the Weekly World News. This has just been called to my attention. You're going to like this, Tula.
What is that?
Elect Donahue for sex change, not Senate. My America by Ed Anger. I'm madder than John Wayne in a cowgirl suit over Wimpy Phyllis Donahue's threat to run for the U.S. Senate when he quits that damned hen party he calls a TV talk show. I try so hard to get respect. Yes, sir.
We touched just a little bit ago about how your family reacted to this. I'm the father of 2 sons and 2 daughters. And should one of them, after 17 or 18 years, have announced to me that they had decided that they wanted to change their sex, it would have been...
Like an arrow in the heart.
Yes, tremendous.
Yeah.
And because it was you and personal, you had to do what you had to do. But what kind of communication really did you have with your family about this? did you have really an open line, and how did they adjust to this? It must have been terribly difficult for
It was very difficult. As I said earlier, my brother came up and I broke it to my brother, but I mean, my mother and dad could see that I had problems as a child. I mean, I didn't fit in at school. I was coming home with black eyes and cut lips and things because I was picked on at school. It was horrendous. So they could see I wasn't a boy. And I was always playing truant at school. I mean, I just hated school.
So it wasn't a shock to them?
Well, they knew I was different. I think they were pleasantly surprised that I wasn't homosexual.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we'll be back with Tula in just a moment.
I have a question. Like, you do movies, right? Does the males that do movies with you, do they know that you're transsexual?
They do now.
Okay. Yeah. Was anybody ever afraid to do a love scene with you? Is what I was wondering.
They're desperate to do it with me.
Did you have a hard time making friends when you were young, or even now, people's reactions?
I did as a child, yeah, but not anymore.
Yes.
How were you discovered by the press? Did you make somebody mad, or how were you discovered by the press?
Well, they spent 4 years hounding me because in England, when you you get successful, they build you up, but then when you're there, they sort of look around for skeletons in your cupboard, and they found one, so they...
Sir.
I'm a physician, and for the sake of clarification, I should say that a transsexual person is born with both sexes, except at one point, like puberty, the sexes will clash. It will be necessary for one of them to be removed so that the other one can prevail.
So the transsexual surgery, which has now become so common, is in many ways an emotionally life-saving intervention for this
It is necessary for the physical and the emotional welfare of the individual, because you cannot be a man and a woman at the same time. Right. It's impossible.
I do thank you, Doctor.
Yes, you said your sister would be a surrogate for you. I want to know what kind of relationship you had with your sister. Do you have sisterly talks?
Oh, fabulous, yes. I'm so close to her. She's like a friend.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think you'll ever make a pinup girl in my shop.
No, you don't think so.
Yeah, my wife brought home a friend one day, and we were talking and so on and so forth. And after the friend left, I found out she was transsexual. And for my first emotions were, forget it. But after months went on, we became good friends and so on and so forth. But still, I still have this feeling. I don't know if it's my Irish Catholic background or just like,
well,
I still wouldn't look at your pinup.
You're shallow.
Yeah, Tula does not insist that you find her sexually attractive. She does insist that you treat her like a woman and without prejudice. Yes.
Yes, you said that gay males found you unattractive. Did you try being gay before you had such a drastic change?
Well, yes. I mean, I was introduced to gay men, but they didn't find me attractive because I was very feminine.
Tula, I would like to ask you if the Italian count broke the engagement because he found out what you did.
No, he knew before, actually.
So why did he break the engagement? Was this after the marriage?
No, we didn't get married, but he was...
Was this after the marriage to the Jewish man?
No, it was before. Oh. Yeah. Have you ever been a communist? Let's try and get all this in here. And we'll be back in just a moment.
For a transcript of today's show, send $3 to Donahue Transcript, 267 Broadway, New York, New York, 1007, or call 212-227-READ.
Please, Tula, let me take a moment. I don't want to give these guys, I do want to give them a chance to say hi, Mom. In our audience and in our beloved New York Harbor here in the Big Apple are some of the members of the crew of the USS Dale, the USS Moinster, the USS John F. Kennedy, the Ortolan, the Flatley, and the Emery S. Land. We thank you all for being here, and proud to have you in our audience.
How long do you, when you're seeing someone, how long do you wait before you tell them? When you're seeing somebody, how long do you wait before you're telling them?
It depends on if I think the relationship is getting serious, but I like them to get to know me as a person first. I mean, I had a cosmetic situation done, and I just feel, you know, if we were getting married, I'd tell them.
The USS Ortolan. I don't want them mad at me. Yes.
Hi, I would like to know how you like America and would you come back?
I love it. It's very liberated here, and everyone speaks up for themselves, and I'm coming back in the spring to promote my new book.
We've been talking male to female changes. How many have gone the other way from females to males? Like what percentage? Do you know? Are there any?
I don't know, actually, but I know it's not a terrible
Services provided and promotional fees paid by the following.